Hi everyone, my name is Bronson Shavitz with Shavitz Heating and Air Conditioning, Chicagoland's trusted name in heating and air conditioning since 1904. Today I'm going to talk about a problem that many of our clients have called us about, and that's having hot rooms upstairs and comfortable or too cold of rooms downstairs, or even just a ranch style home that has hot rooms in one side of the house and cooler rooms on the other side of the house. So I have 8 tips to try to help make those rooms a little bit more even with each other and a little bit more comfortable. So the first thing that we have to remember is physics. Hot air rises, cold air falls. When your thermostat reaches the set point and it shuts off, now that hot air starts going up the stairs, that cold air starts going down the stairs, and the only way to really fight that is to go to your thermostat and turn the fan setting from fan auto over to fan on. What that's going to do is to constantly help mix up that air, help bring some of that hot air down, and helps bring some of that cold air and distribute it out. And that's usually going to help 2 to 3 degrees of making those rooms a little bit closer in temperature to each other. The next thing, kind of along the same lines, many rooms either don't have dedicated return grills in that room, or they don't have enough return in that room. And when I say return, the way that an air conditioning system works is you have cold air coming out of the vents, but you need to bring that warm air back to the indoor part of the cooling system to cool it down again. And that's the job of the return ductwork and the return grills, to allow that warm air to be brought back to the cooling system, to the indoor cooling coil. Each room should have enough return. It should have the same amount of return as supply. If it doesn't have enough return, it's not gonna, more heat is gonna build up, and that heat is gonna build up in the upper rooms and not get brought back as well. So by leaving interior doors open, we're gonna help draw some of that heat, let the system's return draw some of that heat back to make that room a little bit more comfortable and cool down that warm air and send cold air back. If you don't want to leave doors open, a couple things that you could try is transfer grills, so putting a grill on one side and then the other side of the wall to allow the air to pass through. Or you can undercut your doors, or cut a little bit off the bottom of the door to leave like 1.5 inch gap, let's say, to allow that air to come back underneath. That's gonna help as well. The next thing that you should investigate is go down and look at your ductwork system. And you're going to want to look for dampers. Those are metal flaps that go inside your ductwork. And make sure that the dampers going to the upstairs rooms are fully open and we're getting maximum airflow. And dampers going to downstairs rooms, you don't want to close those off fully, but you might want to close them down a little bit. And the reason that you don't want to close them down fully is that essentially is going to put too much back pressure, for lack of a better term, on the ductwork, and that's going to cause the system to actually be able to deliver less airflow, and that potentially could damage the system. So we don't want to do that, but it's okay to close dampers down a little bit and see if we can get the first floor, let's say, to not cool down as quickly and let the upstairs cool down as fast as it can, and then so hopefully those cool and heat up at the same rate. Check my notes here. The next thing that you want to strongly consider is going up into your attic and making sure that we are not driving down so much heat. Those attics can get to be 130, 140, 150 degrees pretty easily. You want to make sure that, one, your attic fan is working, and that attic fan, its job, it should have a little thermostat built into it, and when it gets too hot in your attic, that turns on, blows the heat out of your attic, ventilates that attic, so you don't have so much heat being driven down from the attic into that upper floor. Tied into that is make sure that your attic insulation is up to par. Investing in attic fans and attic insulation is definitely a worthwhile investment, not only to reduce your heating and cooling bills in general, but also to make those upstairs a little bit more comfortable, especially in the summer. The next step that you can make to try to improve your air conditioning system is you can consider zoning if your ductwork is set up for that. And that's having a professional come out and see if your ductwork is set up so that you can have a motorized damper tied to a thermostat, and that thermostat would be, there'd be one upstairs or in the hot areas, one downstairs where it normally is. And the upstairs thermostat controls a motorized damper and a duct only going upstairs. That way, if you need air conditioning upstairs but not down, the system only runs upstairs. And any rooms can be zoned in that manner. Zoning is pretty complicated and pretty technical, so make sure that you have a licensed professional who knows how to do zoning and some of the pitfalls that you can fall into that are gonna negatively affect your system. But if your ductwork is set up, it's definitely a very good solution. Similar to that is ductless splits or ductless mini splits, and that's either a wall mount or a floor mount dedicated air conditioner just to that room or several rooms. Extremely effective at cooling specific areas of your home. They're super quiet, extremely efficient. Oftentimes they're a lot more efficient than your regular home's air conditioning system. Great dehumidification. They're really excellent, solutions for one or two rooms. We've done a lot of those, and people are super happy when those go in. Another thing to consider is sealing your ductwork. When ductwork is put together, you have metal on metal, and when they come together, you have little gaps, in where those ducts are connected. And those gaps can often leak quite a bit of air. And the furthest rooms, the upstairs, those are the rooms that are gonna be affected the most. And so if a little bit of air is leaking here and here and here and here, by the time you get to that furthest register, there's not as much air left in the duct in the room that needs it most because the hot air is rising up to that room. There's a process called AeroSeal, and that basically a sealant is injected, a non-toxic sealant is injected into the ductwork and actually seals all those gaps from the inside out. And we've done it in many homes where that alone will make some of these hot rooms or these upstairs several degrees cooler than they were prior to doing that. Another very good solution that a lot of people have had a lot of good success with. And again, that's AeroSeal. If you have questions, there's some great information about that online. And of course, you can give us a call as well. Last, your old system is probably too big. And the problem with that is if your air conditioner is too big, it'll blast a lot of cold air, and the first floor is gonna get the cold air first. If that first floor cools too quickly, and we haven't run enough air conditioning upstairs to cool the upstairs or the furthest rooms, then the thermostat doesn't know any better, doesn't know what's going on upstairs, and it turns the system off. If you have a properly sized air conditioner, or better yet, a multi-stage or multi-speed air conditioner that can run in low speed, it's gonna run long enough to push that cold air upstairs and significantly improve the comfort. It's kind of like in your car. If you blast the cold air, the people in the front feel all that cold air blasting, and they're cold, and they shut it off before the people in the back seat have felt enough of that air conditioning to be comfortable. But by running in a low consistent fan speed and a low consistent cooling speed, everybody's kind of getting cold air at the same rate. And also that fan is running to help fight that hot air rising and that cold air falling. So if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to call us. Those are 8 tips that are gonna make your home a little bit more comfortable and help stop those rooms that are too hot upstairs and too cold downstairs from having that temperature discrepancy. Further questions, let us know. We'd be happy to help. Thanks for tuning in. Have a nice day.